She wasn't a conservative at all. She was a Gladstonian economic liberal, in the traditions of the Gladstonian Liberal Party. And that's one of the great kind of traditions about her, is that one of the great ironies, rather, about her was that, in many respects, she wasn't a conservative. She was, in her own way, a radical, and came from a kind of radical tradition. Now, I come from a very different liberal tradition. I come from a social liberal tradition, which absolutely recognises the right of each individual to be able to thrive. But my answer to your question, Andy, is that if that is what you believe to be true liberalism, then she was probably right.
In my opinion, was an economic liberal. She very much came from the classical liberal tradition. So if you read classical liberals like Hayek, Mises, Rothbard, I think Ayn Rand, it's very very limited government, very skeptical of any state programs of any kind. You see, Thatcher, very different rhetoric and policy. And we'll get into the policies because I know this is on the speech, but I broadly agree with what Matthew said, to be honest. I have to distinguish between Thatcher and Thatcherism, because Thatcher, during her period, wasn't very good, to be honest, until later on. And then Thatcherism was really Major and Blair. And I've always said, if Thatcherism was so bad, why didn't Blair reverse it?
It does frustrate me that she tries to make connections to liberals from the times of old, like Gladstone, and tries to package that. But Gladstone, as I just said, was far more complicated a politician. I think Gladstone, I think she does a dirty on Gladstone. I think she's not being entirely fair on Gladstone. I just think it's a shallow view of Gladstonian liberalism. She talks about liberties and freedom, but only for the market. But never allowed it to be expanded on for the people on social issues. I just think there's so much contradictions in that philosophy. So, but that's my view anyway. So, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.